Hey, what's up? This is Todd Smith. I'm back with another video. In this video, I want to talk about Ensoniq and how they were truly ahead of their time in many ways. They were only around for a short period of time, but gave a bunch of boards and technology that was, again, truly ahead of its time and still great to use today. I myself was lucky enough to snag two of these Ensoniq boards for around $250 each. Actually, the ESQ-1 I got like for $230, and this one was about $240-ish. Which I feel are great for the sound that I get out of them. The only thing about it is you are buying into older digital technology, which is pretty hard to repair compared to something, let's say, analog. So it's, when certain things start to go in it, it can get really particular to find somebody to repair it, almost impossible at times. So you got to take that aspect into buying these boards. I'm really surprised at some of the sounds that these boards can put out, and I still use them in tracks today. And the great thing about Ensoniq is their boards range in a massive way when it comes to sounds. If you get something earlier, like the ESQ-1, you're going to have a grittier, rougher sound. The oscillator section in the ESQ-1 was digital, but it was 8-bit, and it had an analog filter. So the combination of those two things give it a really gritty vibe that you don't hear in the later side of Ensoniq. The SD-1 starts to sound more digital, 100% digital format with digital filters. It overall has a cleaner sound than, let's say, the ESQ-1 already. And then if you go up to some of the later boards, like the TS series or the Fismo, which really at that point you start to get to the higher end of the Ensoniq price range when it comes to the cost point of these machines. They really get into high fidelity sound range. I'm talking like audiophile, in my opinion, like just really great stuff. The technology under the hood of the TS series and stuff up in there is just unreal. Some of the sounds I've heard come out of those machines. I myself have never touched one. The TS is kind of a rare thing to touch in terms of gear. Not many people own one. And they have an effects rack too, which I forget the exact name of it. If somebody can throw it down below, it's a very high-end effect rack even today. So they pumped out a lot of stuff in a short time frame, in which a lot of professional people use today. Again, not only was their sound amazing when it comes down to the whole scope of their range of the machines, when it comes down to ESQ-1 all the way up to their samplers, up to their high-end machines like the Fismo, the TS. The interface they gave in many of the machines was way ahead of their time. They did have a few machines where they started to incorporate the need for a computer for the interface, and I feel those don't hold up as good today compared to the ones that they built that just stand completely alone and work 100% alone. The MR series and things of that nature required you to hook up to a PC and actually have that interface in order to fully gain access to the editing parameters. But besides those products, the majority of the stuff they gave out really had an interface that was light years ahead of its time, especially when you're talking about the early stuff like the ESQ-1 and the SD-1, which, as I touched in the video yesterday, gives you one-touch interface in a digital format, which pretty much every menu, once you touch it, you see everything on the screen that you need. You touch one button, you're controlling it by a slider instantly, so you don't really have a huge menu dive, and the very little things that do have multiple menus on this machine are marked clearly on the machine, so you know how many submenus it has. It's one of the simplest digital work forms, even today when it comes to even modern synths. They just did an amazing workflow on these machines. I myself need to replace the battery on the ESQ-1, which is why you don't see me use it too often right now. I don't want to mess it up. I got it in a few weeks ago. I found a guy locally who will do it for me. I just need to rip the board out. That will be done very soon. I can't wait to have a full battery in this thing. And if it lives the whole transformation, it'll be an ESQ-1 with a fresh battery in here. It's going to just, oh man, it's going to be so great. That'll be a good day for the studio, guys. The SD-1 I got is fairly stable. The sequencer has a few in Oz, but if I reboot the system, everything's fine with the OS, and I have floppy disks, which I need to translate to a digital format. You can do that. You can update these drives to not run on floppy disks, but mine works and the disks work, and honestly, it's kind of fun to hear the clank and see the lights, and it's slow compared to modern technology, but it's fun to use. You can still find these boards at a great price. As I said, when you get higher up in their range of the higher fidelity stuff, you start to get bigger price tags. But they're all great machines, in my opinion, out of the ones I've touched. I always try to get used in a place that has some sort of warranty if possible, so I can push it as hard as I want for 30 days. And if there's any issues, I know, and I'm taking that on. And if there's way too many issues, I can give it back and maybe have credit towards something else. So there's some sort of safety net there, because I have got a few used pieces that I brought home and they just had way too many issues. And if I bought it and I just had to keep it, it definitely would have been like, this is a big piece I'm probably not going to use too often. So that's just a personal way I invest into these style of pieces. Because as I stated in the video, you are always investing in something that you might have to maintain or might have an issue. And it is old digital technology, which can be very hard to repair. I myself feel very lucky to have these two boards at the price range I got them, in the working state I got them, as long as this one lives the battery transformation. It's sad to say that after a short burst of amazing gear, they sold out to various companies. And I don't even think those various companies really did much with what Ensoniq sold off to them. So really, these kind of faded out. I do recall reading that the Ensoniq guys, the amazing minds behind it, they got into the synth game with that reason in mind, to build up a name, to get something going, to sell off, to go do other things. I guess synths wasn't their end game. And so ultimately, they did what they wanted to do. And they supplied some amazing gear while doing it. So if that's the case, I could be wrong. I'm not going to look it up. I'll let you guys, I'll let the comment section verify that one. So as always, I'm going to sit back and say, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. That's my little snitch on Ensoniq, about why I thought they were truly ahead of the time, the company itself, why I invest in those old synths at a good price when I can find them. I've played the SD-1 in a lot of my recent jams and my songs. Again, the ESQ-1 is kind of sitting in the corner right now, but, she'll be back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, stay positive, stay creative, support each other, and peace.